Okay,
Good.
good.
Ready? All right.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us once again for the Discipline Therapy podcast with your two amazing hosts, Mr. E.L. Discipline, and with him always, Suhey Sotomayor. Before we introduce you to the topic, you know how we do, we're going to clear the energy.
All right.
I'm doing what you did.
Twice.
Oh, 3 times.
Yeah. Gotta bang it
You should do.
hard.
Oopsies. Okay.
All right. Cool. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, patreon.com, the Discipline Therapy Podcast. Go subscribe, exclusive content, behind the scenes lives,
Curated
also
content.
chats. So if you have any Q&As, those are the higher tiers. But any Q&As, ask me anything, I will comply. I will not plead the fifth. I will
Ooh.
not change the subject and avoid your question and do gymnastics around the question. So there's Q&As, higher tiers, check them out. Ask me anything's BDSM content, BDSM posts,
Mm-hmm.
higher tiers, golden tier, I think is golden standard. BDSM content, as you know, it's no longer going to be on YouTube. So BDSM like part 9, 109, stuff like that. 10, the
Poems, erotic stories, all that
yeah.
stuff,
So
right?
all that will be there. Bloopers, behind the scenes
Mm-hmm.
photo shoots perhaps coming up. I'm trying to plan a BDSM photo shoot. So I might throw like a couple on Instagram or Facebook, and then the rest will be on Patreon.
Kind of like a little tease for them.
Yeah, for them to go there. There's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
so much things coming in the future. You get early access to things, early access to shows, you get early news. Talking about news, workshop, the Divine Disciplines Workshop 2023. That will
Mm-hmm.
be to be announced, but I'm thinking like maybe spring, early summer, early spring, March, April, May, June. We'll see how things go.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be a good one too.
Yeah. So we know y'all are fiends and y'all know what that means. That's why you're here.
What does that mean?
Well, it's Discipline Therapy Thursdays. We're serving you your dose weekly of discipline therapy where everything is completely free.
Everything?
Well, not everything.
Okay.
Patreon. But most
He
things
said
are free.
Patreon.
But what is free on this network is judgment free, sucker free, censor free, sensitive free, and plenty of liberty. God in it, well, not a lot of liberty. And that's why we have Patreon. I have
Kind of
to
liberty.
switch up my whole thing. God and the ancient ancestors are great, as you know, and that means everything else is straight. Check the flow. Inhale life and exhale strife. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into one of the most exhilarating podcasts, the Discipline Therapy Podcast. We're here.
Here. And you know what else we're here with? We have some of the surveys from the last workshop that we did. So I'm gonna read some of them, not the whole thing, just the feedback that they provided us, what they're interested in seeing for future topics.
All right.
All right. So these are anonymous. One of the questions was, what other topics would you like to see discussed in future workshops? Someone said role playing in relationships. What it means to have balance in relationships, and how should males and females show up in these relationships. This one says, thank you for sharing and hosting this workshop, hot topic, simply because the trend has moved us away from our true DNA. As an educator, I'm in constant battle of seeing my students being informed by all these trends with no facts or beliefs in what they see and do. That's a good one. Another one said for the topics that they'd like to see, why women choose the men they choose, family and relationships.
So we also had them do like
Rate.
satisfactory rated.
They're all everything. All of them that I've read were very satisfied with the workshop. They would. They all said that they would recommend other friends and families to attend the workshop or a seminar that we have.
I see a lot of fives.
Yeah, lots of five. It's from 1 to 5, and it literally like there's mostly fives, and then like two or three fours, but everything else
I
is
think
five.
people were being nice.
I don't think so. I think they know what they're talking about over here. Um, Another one was topic that they want to see is how to satisfy a man and ask more questions. They said we were asking a lot of questions. So,
The
um,
whole
yeah, the whole
workshop was
thing.
questions.
Another topic they like to see expectations with sexual doms and subs. Ooh. I enjoyed the workshop. Everything that the audience were enjoyed that the audience was able to participate throughout the presentations. They enjoyed the debates. Another topic they want to see is why can't a woman make a man dominant? That's a good question. And they said great workshop. Another topic, women's dominant roles, how males can adjust to an alpha female. That's a good one. Another topic they want to talk about dominatrixes, alpha, beta, meta males as well. Another one they want to see women as dominatrix, weak males and beta males. They want to talk about. Oh, this one's good. They want us to talk about politics, like transgender um, people competing in sports. So I guess trans females competing in women's sports and trans males. This one just said that they enjoyed it. Another one, a lot of people want to talk about transgender and homosexuality. They said that the workshop was very informative. It really was. And that's it. Those are the ones that I grabbed.
Yeah, so based off the surveys, because I've already read them, I just wanted people to hear
Want to
them.
share it with you guys.
Yeah. So based off the surveys, well, I've already said it in the workshop, and I think maybe that's what pushed them to write those things in the survey.
Mm,
Because I was talking about alpha males and beta males, and I was like, I know these are words that are unfamiliar to a lot of people
yeah.
here. I'm going to have a BDSM workshop. That's going to be the next one. I said that at the workshop.
Yeah.
And I will talk about that then. We don't have enough time. So just run with me. That's how I said it,
Yeah.
verbatim. So I think that piqued their
Oh
interest,
yeah.
and then they started writing all that stuff. So I was like, you know what, we're in sync now, because I was already gonna talk about the BDSM. That's why I brought the Forgotten Art of Dominance and Submission, because I wanted to pop their cherry. I wanted to,
You want to give it to them slow.
yeah, I can't talk about BDSM yet until we get to the foundation. So that's
Right.
why, it was the Forgotten Art of Dominance and Submission, masculinity and femininity. And then I was gonna bring the BDSM in. So when people come back, they won't be like, What is he talking
Yeah.
about? Because I already talked about that in the first workshop.
Yeah.
So they're informed. And the people that showed up, I gave them the link. I sent them the link.
Right.
So those people that want to come back, when it's time for the workshop, they could watch the video. And it's
Yeah,
also
that's
on
true.
Patreon. So you could
Mm-hmm.
subscribe, be a member, and you could watch the whole video of the workshop on Patreon.
Yeah.
Exclusively there, and people that were there have it. So that's why I looked at the all the satisfactories,
The surveys. Mm-hmm.
all the fives, and I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm steadfast on the BDSM. So that's why
I'm
I
sure
was
so many people are like, yes, finally, we're gonna have one of those and pick his brain. People, go on to the Patreon. He has Q&As.
yeah,
Anything you want to ask him,
yeah.
and he
So
can't even say no to them because he just said it right now, right here.
yeah, all right. So we're gonna get into it. Okay, so my sixth book, Strong Bonds Never Break. The chapter is Strong Bonds Never Break. Chapter 13, but it's also this topic. So it's the chapter, it's the title of the book, and it's the chapter there's a chapter title in there. Every book, I think I have the title as a chapter.
In all of them?
I think so.
So I reread this chapter last night,
Mm,
and you know, I just I love these characters, and I feel like because I've been part of the not actually part of the writing process, but I've gotten to read, the as you're writing. And I love to see, especially in this book, how the roles kind of change. Not like, um, Sophia takes on, that she steps into Dom's shoes, but kinda because he in this book particularly, especially in this chapter, he's not able to do the things, handle things how he normally likes to handle things.
mm-hmm,
So I love seeing that. I love seeing um how she flourishes, especially in this book, and how he has no choice but to kind of let the ladies do what they got to do.
mm-hmm.
So I think that's great. Did you want to read something from this?
All right, I'll read a little bit. Let me see. Okay, so the way we ended 12, which is why we wanted to talk about 13, because 12 was really good. It was here is the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I left it off as a cliffhanger because I do that with these novels so they can be page turners. What's gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen next? What's gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen next? Psychologically, you know, you trigger curiosity in the
Mm-hmm.
human mind that way. So they just want to know. So they're gonna turn the
Yeah,
page.
definitely.
So, you know, chapter 13, I love it a lot because now we get to see um everybody working together.
Yeah.
So in a way it's like
And
it leave
another key
l-
character gets introduced as
yeah,
well.
because leaving off 12, it was like, here's the plan. And then Dom is kind of instructing Sophia, like, listen, you might not like this, but I want to stay involved.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time they're still not getting along.
Right.
So 13 starts off, well, 12 is okay, here is the plan. He's still in jail. So they're just, they're speaking through the burner phone that he got with Robert. He
Mm-hmm.
hooked them up with the guy, he saved his life in lunch. People need to purchase the book.
That comes back to bite Dom in the ass in 13.
Oh yeah. So he says, I narrated, part of Dom's instructions involved Estea. He made it imperative for Sophia to comply and had her understand that having two strong women working together is better than having them fighting against each other. Two would now work together from the outside to help dominate from the inside. So in the game of chess, the queen always protects the king. Because the objective of the game is to not allow your king to get captured, or the game is over, or it's very hard to win. So, let's see. I don't want to read all of it. I just want to run through some stuff.
Well,
Okay, so this is the part. There was another hearing where Dom had to answer for what he did at lunch, which was caught on surveillance. What Dom failed to realize was they had been watching some of his moves. The judge asked where his attorney was. Now, remember, 12, he fires the attorney.
mm-hmm.
Now, that was Dom and Sophia's attorney. And he fired him because he got frustrated that I think he didn't get bail,
Mm-hmm.
or he was like, "Yo, you lost in there. Like, what was going on?" And then the attorney was like, "Something is wrong because I think, you know, why would he not grant you at least something? Because, well, okay, so the prosecutor and the judge are in cahoots. They work for Gambino.
You totally just
Oh
let the
yeah,
cat out of the
oh yeah.
bag.
What do we do? Viewers discretion advised. Um, what is it that we say?
Word.
Spoilers.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
spoiler, right?
Okay. So they're working with for Gambino. So they're in cahoots. So it wasn't gonna win anyways, but Dom and The attorney do not know why. So he's like, I don't understand. There's something wrong with this case. And Dom says, yes, there is. It's you. You're
Mm-hmm.
fired.
Yeah.
So when he and Sophia sit down and they're having the conversation through the glass, picks up the telephone. So what's going on? I fired the guy. Why'd you do that? So now he's wondering where Dom's attorney was. Sophia and Estelle look around at one another, shrugging their shoulders, as they were clueless as well. Remember, Dom wanted them both to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you may not like this, but I want her to be there. Both of you to be there for moral support.
Mm-hmm.
So they're sitting next to one another. Dom assured the judge his attorney will be there shortly. She was running late. So I emphasize on that. I capitalize it. She.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um okay, so that's all I want to read. Well, not really, because I want to show Sandra in action. Okay, so
I love
spoilers.
that part too.
Spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. At first, when Sophia sees this beautiful woman coming, she's like,
His.
how close they are together, Dom and her. She's wondering, because Sophia's very jealous. So she's wondering who she is. I mean, Esther is wondering who she is as well. But Sophia is more intrigued. She's more,
Well,
you understand?
in the
So,
book, you have Sophia and Estelle turn and say, her. What do you mean she's running late?
oh yeah. So yeah, whisper to each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, um, after everything happens, they talk and, who is she, blah, blah, blah. But I give it away in the end that she's his sister.
At the end of the chapter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's his sister. But he wouldn't admit that, he wouldn't tell Sophia who she was right away. Remember,
He didn't tell her.
Sophia met all his family. So it's like, you understand, who is she?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, but I wanted to show, like, I wanted to highlight Sandra's moment because this was Sandra's moment.
Yeah.
And, even though I'm a male chauvinist, right? I see all these characters, whether they're females, males, they have parts of me in them,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. Obviously, I created the characters.
Yep.
So it's like, and I always talk about how I'm balanced with my feminine and masculine.
You think you were balanced then as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when Sandra comes in, a sexy, beautiful woman with long, curly, dark hair, walks into the courtroom dressed in all black in a business attire. She apologized to the court, quickly hugs Dominic and whispers in his ear if he was all right. He nodded yes. Now, this is the part that I highlight that show her so dominant, like she controls the room. This female attorney came in flaming, taking names and giving no fucks. She was astute, she was aggressive, she petitioned another hearing and got it. Your Honor, is this an arraignment in the court of a lawful nation, or is this state being permitted to an atmosphere of prejudice? Intolerant malice, the clicking of shackles to my law-abiding, tax-paying citizen and client is appalling. The United States flag and what it represents should be no different in this courtroom. And she's saying it forcefully. Not question mark.
Exclamation.
Exclamation point. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I request that the shackles be removed off my client, please. The prosecutor spoke forcefully. Your Honor, if I may interject, Mr. Jean is a dangerous man. He is dangerous to those who are around him, and he is unpredictable. Sandra, Dom's attorney, interjects, objection. We might as well be stuck in the 1600s through the 1800s where they tied the African American males to trees and shot them while they were unarmed. They murdered them if they read, they murdered them if they wrote. Seems like a successful black male is a crime in the world. Let's even talk about what's going on in today's society. Just shoot him. Why bother wasting the taxpayers and states' money any longer and just do it? Dom was confused. Hey, what the fuck are you doing?
You trying to get me killed, girl?
Yeah. So he's like, "Está loca?" Dom whispered forcefully. So Sandra whispers back, shh, trust me, I got this. I got you. And then she continued, Your Honor, she folded her arms. placed them upon her chest, and granted him a deep look. The judge sighed, okay, remove the shackles. Now, that's all I want to read, and you can get back to it. The reason I did that is because, remember, what people need to refresh, what have, the Gambino call. Dom thought he got out the grasp, got the call. It's a setup. They're on the payroll. He says somebody has to go down for it. This is 12. The murdering of the law enforcement, police officers back in Miami. They were crooked though, but it's still, law enforcement. So the police officer says somebody has to go down for it. So Dom, being the provider, the protector, the dominant one, he takes the fall. He says, Sophia, she says, it's my fault. I'm going to do it. I'm the leader of the family, whatever. It's not verbatim paraphrasing. I'm going to take it. You're more useful for me outside. You got to be there for the kids, be strong, whatever. I'll take it. Just tell them I'm on vacation. I'll be out of here. Little did he know, no.
That's not what happened at all.
So, the reason I have him in shackles is because capital punishment, like that's, come on, well, even if it's speculation of you harming law enforcement, they look at you as like,
Right. But not only that, they had just saw on the surveillance cameras how he beat up 3 people, and one of them had like a shank that, that they made in jail.
Oh, yeah.
And he was defending Robert.
Good point.
Yeah. And he, bare hands,
good
kicked
point.
3 people's ass. So that's another reason why they have him in shackles.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I read, I do my research again.
So that's why I did that.
Yeah. And also, I like how, because this is not the first time that either of them had to go to court, especially Dom. It's not the first time that he's been arrested and blah, blah, blah. And normally throughout, when this happens and they need like a character witness, they would normally call Sophia to the stand. Right?
Yeah. That's a long chapter.
Yeah, it's a long chapter.
Go ahead.
Actually, you've had way longer chapters. This one's a pretty decent size for it. This time around, when they went back into the court, they were like, I want to bring his lawyers. Sandra says, I want to bring a witness up to the stand. And Sophia's getting ready to go up, and they call Estrella. So that, first of all, pissed her off, threw her off. And she was like, what? I'm the wife. Why aren't you asking me? And she actually leans in and whispers in Dom's ear, what the fuck are you doing? And he was like, just relax. But he was nervous also because he didn't know what was going to happen. Not that he was worried that Estrella was going to let him down. He didn't want her to get cross-examined hard.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I narrated it would be a test for Estrella.
Not until after.
See, I did this strategically. And the reason, I'll explain why. Sophia's easy.
Yep.
Why is she easy? Why is she the easy pick?
Because she's been with him through it all, through thick and thin already.
And I'll piggyback further. She's done that already. Exactly. She's lied for him. You understand?
Yep.
She rode or die. Rode or die. Yeah, she rode.
She's still riding.
She rode or die. You know what I'm saying? She's still riding.
Right.
So, it's easy for her to do that. And as far as having his back, that's what she does.
Right. It's almost expected also. That's the wife. Of course she's going to.
Yeah. And she, she's loyal to a fault. Yeah. Sometimes it comes back to bite her. But she's just loyal to a fault. So even if she's upset with you, she's going to have your back. So that's what that is. Now, she's concerned. It's not just, I'm the wife or whatever it is. She's concerned because it's like, yo, this is what I do.
Right.
How do you know what's going to happen?
How do you
here?
can trust her like that? She's never done this. Yeah. That's what she tells him.
Yeah. And remember in Stuck Between Two Different Worlds, when they're in Miami and they did that, down the hill or whatever to the law enforcement. Has she ever seen you pull your eagle? You know what I'm saying? Your desert eagle.
She's like, if he hasn't, we got to take care of her too.
Exactly. So in that moment, like, I wanted to bring that back in the sequel and say, okay, this is gonna, like, the spotlight is on her now, because this can make it break even the relationship with her and Dom.
Yeah, let's see how she handles
That's
herself.
one. Number two, this can inspire respect from Sophia.
Which it does.
You understand? Because now it's like, now Sophia is no longer thinking about herself. She's just trying to, whatever any means necessary, I need to get my husband out of jail. You know what I'm saying? So in that moment, it's like, I wanted to put her in the spotlight because she never had to do that before. That's pushing her limits. You know, so I was like, yo, this is gonna be the best. I'm gonna scare the audience. You know what I'm saying? The audience who were like avid readers, avid supporters of the Stuck Between Two Different Worlds book series, they're gonna they oh my God, what's gonna happen? It's a nail biter.
Yeah.
Because now they're like, you know, Sophia, she's notorious for this. But we've never seen Estrella. Like,
And
what
they're
would
two
she
totally
do?
different people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
So
Sophia's very, you know, like you gave her that nickname in the book, Trigger
trigger
Happy.
happy,
So
yeah.
like she's ready to,
She's a hothead.
yeah.
So, you know, Estrella Alvarez, I had to find a last name because when you're in court, they make you state your name,
Yep.
full name, government. So I was like, I had to find a last name, right? You know, things just popped up in my head. So I was like, Estrella and Alvarez. And then, you know, she just cross-examines her. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, when you put people on the stand, they're fresh bait. That's the
Yep.
problem.
Yep.
So now, as she's asking her the questions that are easy, now here comes the prosecutor
Yeah.
to ask her, like, you know,
Personal questions, like you know, just trying to imply that her and Dom have an intimate relationship.
yeah, because it would be conflict of interest.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, how do you know this man? Da 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 da. Oh, now that's the time when Sophia finds out he's investing in some of her businesses.
Yep.
Because she's like, what? When they have that end of the talk, you didn't tell me you were gonna invest. Hey, it's my money. Why do I need
Yep.
authorization from you, who I want to do business with? So in that moment, she starts saying, okay, he's invested in this, he's that. And then they're throwing the, have you ever had a sexual relationship with him or intimate relationship or whatever it is? Because then it would be a conflict of interest of your answers.
And also, it's gonna show the type of, like, if he's cheating on his wife, then how can he be trusted in anything else?
Yeah.
Is what the prosecuting
Yeah,
people
they're
would
good.
want.
They're
Yeah,
good with that.
But she was better because she actually, when the prosecution rests with their questions to her, Sandra came back up and redirected and asked her, "Have you ever seen this man be violent?" And that's when she said no and went into her story, which made Sophia see her in a different light too.
Yeah. Now, just to brief, she puts Dom on a pedestal. He's like a father figure, this, that, which is true because his dynamic with Estrella and Sophia, Dom, I'm talking about, totally different.
Completely different.
So, she's never seen Dom in that way, maybe in the bedroom,
And in
but
Miami that one time, but
yeah, but not with her, you know, in a way that's maybe non-consensual, we can say. When she's being cross-examined, you know, she breaks down, which I thought it would be great to do that because the jury will sympathize, especially if there are more women, they're going to sympathize with the women crying.
You would think.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make that happen because even women who are strangers will be like, oh my God, and they'll just band together. Remember that women are more inclusive,
Yeah.
have
Well,
inclusive relationships.
it worked because Sophia was like, oh my God.
Yeah. So that was one. Two, she had mentioned how he's a father figure because she grew up without one. And that's where Sophia and Estrella, that's what they have in common.
And also that she said she's been in multiple violent relationships. Like she was like, I know violence. I've been in relationships like that. And it took a lot for me to get out of them.
Yes.
And then she was saying like, and I don't know why, but it could have been because I didn't have my father, which is why, Mr. Gene and I, I see him in that light. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
So yeah.
yeah, it was
It
good.
was
Yeah.
brilliant for me.
But he
So I
wasn't
think
happy. He was pissed.
so here's the thing. Here's what happened. Now the prosecutor is trying to trip her up.
Mm-hmm.
And now Dom gets angry. So
Well, even her story even touched the judge. Like after she was done, he was like, "You don't have to answer anymore. You can step down."
mm,
But when the judge said, "All right, we're gonna have a break or whatever,"
went to the cubicle.
yup, he was
This is when Dom was
pissed.
pissed. I think he slams the table forcefully,
Yup.
creating a fist.
He yells at
Um,
Sandra.
and he's like,
He was like, "What the fuck was that? You said she wasn't gonna get, you know, they weren't gonna attack her like that." He was
yeah,
like, you're not going to get me off on the, I forgot the wording that you said, on her, like on the backs of my loved ones. Like you're not gonna put them in the line of fire
mhm,
just to get me out. You're gonna have to go a different route then.
yeah,
And
yeah,
she was
yeah,
like, no, calm down. I don't worry. This is good because look at what she did.
mhm,
So that
yeah,
was good too.
yeah, yeah. So towards the after that, Dom and Sophia have the conversation, and it's like I love this part because she's like, "Oh, you didn't tell me you were gonna do business with it," which is so presumptuous of
Her.
her, which is
Even with him
ridiculous.
being
Like,
in jail, you're gonna still fight about that shit.
yeah, which is ridiculous. And then he's like, "It's my money. I don't need authorization from you on who I do business with or what I do with it." And then she says, "Your money. I helped you earn every goddamn penny."
Yep.
So I wanted to throw that in there because that's Sophia's character.
I want to
So
say
they
though,
don't.
I feel like she said that because she wants to keep some sort of normalcy going. Because remember, hasn't been in the house. She has to still tell the kids he's on vacation or he's doing business. That's what I took of it. I know that that's how she is, but I was like, she's trying to hold on to some sort of normalcy in their life. That's why she's still
Mhm.
picking the fights with him. But he's
So
slick because he will like change the subject.
Well, what he did is he redirected it towards her because he was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Okay, you help me get this. What are you doing now to help me
Yep. Oh,
get
I
out
like
of
that
here?"
part.
So this is not helping us.
And also she was like, you were the same hoodlum from back then. And that's when he says, you want to still stay with that hoodlum, but this is a different man now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
He was like,
It's time to grow up. When
he
are you
was,
gonna grow up?
"I'm not the same street nigga you married."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Yeah, you were the same hoodlum when I met you back then, and now look at you like, yeah, yeah."
Yeah.
So
Because
yes,
he's always been trying to change out of that or
yeah,
steer away from that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a
I
good
mean,
one.
at some point, if you're not growing together, you grow apart. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if you're in the relationship together. Somebody's gonna surpass someone.
Yeah.
There's really no such thing as you know y'all on the same level. I don't think there's a such thing as that. It's gonna come down to just growth.
Mm-hmm.
As far as your mindsets, maybe your traditions, and the activities that you're engaging in. So if Dom is trying to transition from the street nigga to
Corporate.
the corporate mogul and like live a straight narrow
Yeah, like a
life,
businessman.
why is she still trying to
Bring him back down
be about the street?
or pigeonhole him to just that.
Yeah, so this is the growth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They may be on the same level as far as finances or business,
Mm-hmm.
but for the mindset, the spirit, character, the activity is different.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, like you want to grow together.
Yeah, that's the goal,
You
man. Grow
understand?
together.
So it's like she's still the child. She's still the high school sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
She's still living in that past
Yeah.
where he's like trying to like, don't you realize I'm not the same street nigga you marry?
Mm-hmm.
So, now they go into, damn, it's a long chapter. I
Well,
love it because now they go into
well, he asked her, what did you find out
yeah,
about
I
the
was just
the
about to get
judge?
into that.
And she was like, I didn't really find anything. She didn't realize that what she overheard was actually, good information. Because she went when the judge, said we're gonna go on dismissal or whatever, and he went into his chamber. She followed him and she stood outside the door listening. That's something my sister would do. Listen. And she didn't really get it. So what she told him, she was like, I didn't get anything. All I got, he was on the phone with somebody named Gambino. And he said, it's going to be done. Don't worry about it. And he was like, I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah,
So she was like, oh shit, what? I did
yeah,
something good. I got it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And
And
that's when he told, go ahead.
that goes into chapter 14. It's nothing personal, just business.
No, not yet. He tells Sandra, I want you to find everything there is about this guy. And then when she gets that information, she can't give it to him. So he tells Sandra, you got to go and give it to my wife. That's
Oh, yeah.
Sophia.
So I guess, sorry. So I guess
Okay.
after they talked, he spoke to back to Sandra, and then he says those things. Verbatim, he's like, yo, I want to know when this guy goes to the bathroom. I want to know how many children he has. I want to know
His
where he
favorite
goes.
foods,
Yeah,
what he eats, everything.
yes, because he wants to find some type of dirt to
Mm-hmm.
utilize as leverage,
Yep.
because now this becomes chess,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, that's the thing about power. It's about having the upper hand.
Yeah.
It's about leverage. So in that moment,
He
it's
needs all the leverage he can get.
exactly because the odds are stacked against him. So now think
Yeah, this
about it.
is the judge sitting on his case.
It's not just that they're playing unfair. So
Yeah.
I have to play even dirtier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
And that's actually when Sophia finds out who Sandra is, because he tells her, you have to go and give her this information, and then I'll speak to her after and tell her what I want.
so
So,
she goes to the house.
but he tells her she's a little bit rough around the edges, which is an
Oh yeah.
understatement for Sophia. And then she goes, and Sophia opens the door, and she's like, as Sandra's starting to explain who she is, she's like, good morning, or whatever, my name is, and she cuts her off. She's like, I who the fuck you are? You're my husband's lawyer.
Mm.
And then from that, then they started talking, and then she finds out who she really, who she really is to Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of that chapter, the one who comes up with the next plan is Sophia. It's not Dom. He tells her, this is, you have it. And they were trying to come up with a plan. She goes, I got it. I'll talk to you later. And she makes the phone call. So this is the other, the cliffhanger for this chapter. She calls, Estrella, and she goes, listen, I have a plan, but it's gonna require you to step out of your comfort zone. Are you in? And she says, hell yeah, I'm in. And she was like, all right, so let's meet up and I'm gonna tell you the plan.
Mm.
I did leave out a whole interesting section between her and Estrella that Dom doesn't know anything about.
Oh.
I was like, oh my God. when she was at home.
He learns in there's
Mhm,
still unfinished
mhm.
business. So they have an intimate moment.
They sure do.
And I didn't think Sophia was, I mean,
Had it in her to do it.
yeah.
I
Because
think she had it in her, but not with
chapter
Estrella.
chapter 1 is, I want to see how you two interact.
Yeah.
That's what she says.
Yep.
But it's not like she wants to engage with them.
I
She
guess
just
she
want to
does.
see, and ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't mean I want to see how you two interact in the bedroom. She just wants to see, because the thing is this is why I said chapter 1 to be like this. We're gonna jump back into it.
Okay.
Sophia wanted to see if it really worked. Like, how is
Right.
Estrella submissive to him? How
Right.
does that really work?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it
'Cause she's not.
yeah, so like, I want to see how you two interact. I want to see if this is just like for conditions. I want to see if this is it fake?
Right.
I want to see if she's here for the right reasons.
Right.
Like, I want to see how you two interact. So I just want to make that perfectly clear, because
Right.
that might be taken in
Right,
negative
in a sense.
connotation
Right.
or the bedroom connotation. Now they have an intimate moment.
Yeah. Well, they have what
Be-
leads to that is that Sophia was at home and she was upset and sad because she was like, this is the first time that she's never had him by her side.
Mm,
And she figured nobody is gonna know how I'm feeling except for her. And then that's when they called, they got together, they were talking about
no.
it. And so Estrella was like, whether you want,
Do you
whether
want to?
admit it or not, you're submissive. You're not a submissive, but you're submissive to him emotionally. Like not, I'm submissive 24/7, but you are submissive to him. And she was like, like she was kind of stunned and shocked about it.
Yeah, as she's educating her,
Yeah.
So now, um, Estrella now kind of leads in the alpha steps in that
Mm.
moment with her. She's been kind of subdued because that's my master's wife.
Mm-hmm.
So out of respect, whatever it is, right? It's not in the book that I've narrated this, but
Right.
this is just my thoughts
Mm-hmm.
creating it. So now she takes like the alpha role because remember, Sophia's breaking down, so she needs to, build her up. And that's what she's doing in a way.
Mm.
And she's also educating her along the way.
Yeah.
So as they get intimate, do you think Estrella is wrong for that? Because remember, they both said, let's keep this our secret, pinky square. Do you think she's wrong for that? Do you think Sophia's wrong for that as well?
I don't think Sophia is wrong because it's not in her character to, you know what I mean? Like that's not who she is.
Mm,
I think it's from what I've learned from BDSM, having all these conversations and whatnot. It is wrong for Estrella because she's more than just a submissive to him, right? She's his slave, and that is not a negative connotation. You guys got to go back to our BDSM episodes where all these phrases and words are explained.
mm,
She should. It's her duty to go back and tell him,
mm.
but she doesn't. So, well, I don't know if she does or doesn't, or how he finds out, but he finds out
Yeah, he
later on.
finds out later on. Um,
But
but
I also
I
think
thought
maybe
that
she
would.
did that. Sorry, I think maybe Estrella said, did that so that she can show Sophia, we're in it together now. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I created it like a girl code thing.
Right,
That was
exactly.
my mentality in
Right.
that sense, because in a way, I wanted them to have a relationship outside of Dom. That
Mhm.
was one. Um, and two, have something personal within them. Like
Mhm.
we have something together, like a secret.
Right.
Estrella is wrong
Yeah, that's what
because
I
she
think.
should have, but at the time, he's going through shit. She's not gonna just call him and be like,
All right,
hey,
guess what?
yeah,
Guess what we did?
yeah.
Right.
So much stuff was going on, maybe
They probably
the
also pushed
right
it to the back of
place,
their
right
mind,
time.
right?
Yeah, right place, right time. So now, um, as 13 goes on, they have another hearing, right?
No,
No.
they only had the two
Okay.
in 13. They
Yeah.
only had the two. It ended with Sophia calling Estrella saying, "I have a plan, but
Oh,
it's gonna
yes.
require you to be outside your comfort zone. Are you in?" And she was
Yes.
like, "Hell yeah,
Yes.
I'm in."
Yeah. So now you see the women being highlighted
Hmm.
to do the work.
And Dom now feels hopeless. He feels helpless, like because he
Hmm.
can't do anything. He can
Yeah.
orchestrate as much as he can,
Mhm.
but he's not there to check off everything. Like you
So
got this done.
so what I wanted to do here was create something where you can see women can be 100 different things in the hands of a right man,
Mm.
leading them properly, giving them proper instructions to succeed. Now, this is Dom's doing because
Mm-hmm.
Sophia is this way. And it comes down to skill and will, like I always talk about. You give them the blueprint, but they have to take it upon themselves to do it. Sophia wants him back no matter what. She's
Mm-hmm.
putting her ego aside, her hatred for Estrella,
Mm-hmm.
um, whatever's going on with her problems with Dom, she's putting all those things aside for the greater good.
Yeah, she's
The greater
stepping
good's
up.
the family. So
And
get him out of jail, and then we'll
Mhm.
deal with whatever we have to deal with. So I'm willing to put all these things aside. So now she's will. You understand?
Mhm.
That's will. Like when somebody is determined, they just keep
There's no
going.
stopping them.
There's no
Yep.
stop. You could throw rocks at them or whatever. They're in survival mode.
Mhm.
You understand? So that was the thing I created for her, but it was his doing. He gave her the blueprint because he could have been said, just like in 12, yo, figure this shit out on your own. Get me out of here. Figure this shit out on your own. But he was like, yo, here's the plan. And it's going to require her. You're going to have to bite the bullet and deal with her because I need y'all.
Yep.
But here's the plan, though. I think this guy's corrupt. You need to do this, and hook up with Sandra because she's gonna do this and she's gonna do it, and you could get this, and you. So he's putting her in a position. She's doing the grunt work, but she has a playlist, not a playlist,
Playbook.
a playbook.
I remember that.
Yeah, so he's the coach, and he's like, yo, here's the playbook to the player. And you have to go out there and execute the game.
You know what I like about this, that specifically, is that he's giving her that playbook, but at the end of it, because he is used to having control and doing things himself, he has to have an enormous amount of faith that she's gonna do exactly what he said, what he thinks she can do, and what he wants her to do.
Well, one thing I love is when they came back to talk in the glass, they have their code words, and he was like, you know, crashing. You're not crashing any parties, right? I mean, crashing any cars,
Yeah.
throwing any parties,
Right.
blowing people's heads off. Are you controlling your emotions? You're a hothead. This is just, translation. You're a hothead. Are you controlling your emotions? Because any trigger to get you off and regress can be detrimental to everybody.
Yeah.
So, are you doing what you need to do? So I love adding those things because it like I said, this was the core transformation. This was Sophie. This was the core of Sophia's transformation. And I said this in 12.
This is all about Sophia stepping into her role.
Yeah, I said this in 12. This was the core to her transformation. And I knew that I needed to implement something in the literary content where I can make her eventually grow. Because I wasn't going to make them get a divorce. That would have been the easiest thing to do. I wanted to do something where I could make her grow. And how was I going to do that?
And actually, when Sophia and Dom spoke about specifically having Estrella on the witness stand, he told her, he was like, if you had any reservations before today about her and whether she's here for good, for real, this should have, cleared your mind from it. And she was like, you're kind of right.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
right.
I love that part.
Yeah.
What the fuck were
He
you?
was like, because she's here to stay.
Yeah. What the fuck were you thinking? That could have went left. I love that part. And he said it like, this was the test.
Yep.
And like
and I like though how he knows her.
She still goes back to like the narcissist. And it should have been me. Like
I'm your wife.
I would have, yeah. So it was great. It was great.
Yeah, that was it.
It was great.
Chapter.
Like I said, man, I dove into something deep to be able to write that scene, but there were times when I was I was frustrated because I was like, man, how am I gonna make this flow? How am I gonna make this flow? And then like and then like there was a scene where in my head where I was like, you know what? I need to have something like a domino effect. But eventually the last domino falls. You understand? Like a domino effect. Like you keep going through it and going through it and go. Like when is this shit gonna end? When like the struggle. When is it gonna, like, one thing after another?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, the last domino piece falls,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. So if you started from the bottom or you go back to the bottom, there's no other way to go but up.
Yep.
So in that moment, I said to myself, okay, something has to give, and I need to now put them in a position where they could win. But the key piece of the chessboard was Sophia.
Mm. Yeah. She really in this book
And
is all about her.
and me personally, as the writer, I have to make her take accountability because she's the one that got them in the mess in the
Yep.
first place.
Yep.
If she, and this goes back to the hothead. This goes
Mhm.
back to not controlling her emotions. Because if she did, she would have never killed the capo.
Yep. And
She would have
does that because Dom is
waited.
always there to get her out of those messes.
Yeah.
And now because of her mess, now he's in it, not even her.
Yeah. So that's another thing I thought as well. So I'm glad you said that about that, because I like she even articulates that to Estrella.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been there.
Yep.
I don't know what to do without him. This is not something I'm used to. So we see Sophia now.
Super vulnerable.
Yeah, she's a
Super
woman.
duper vulnerable.
She's a woman now. As we always have seen her be like a man,
Mm-hmm.
she now is a woman now, and she's displaying that vulnerability that readers haven't really seen throughout the first book of the series. A couple of parts when she found out he cheated.
Even the beginning of this book.
Yeah. When she found out he cheated, but now it's even more.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, she might not call him this. She calls him by his government name, but her king is captured.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's temporarily, her king is captured. So in a way, it's like, yo, listen, at this moment, it's everything to get him out of here.
Yep.
Definitely. So I love that.
Yeah, I love seeing that change in her.
Yeah, I love creating that, because in that moment now, like I said in the chapter 12, that episode we did last season,
Mm-hmm.
we see Sophia molding herself kind of like Dominic. That's what I wanted.
Okay.
I always say women adjust to men. So we see her now be strategic. Not saying she never had that in her, because
he had to push it out of her though.
Yeah. Being that she's in the field notoriously dominated by men, Wall Street, and the stockbroker or whatever, and she has the salons, she has to do that in her day-to-day. But
that reminds me, in one of the conversation that she was having with Estrella, she asked Estrella, why would you want to be in this life? You see how it is. You've seen what happened in Miami. Like, why would you want to be in this? And Estrella says, why do you stay in this? You're rich. You have your money. You have your own. You don't need to stay here. Why are you here? And she didn't say that. She was like, you're here because you're submissive to him too. Like, that's why you're here. And they were both like, huh.
See, and
okay.
and my narcissistic tendencies will peek out right now. That was brilliant. I thought when I wrote that was brilliant of me, because I've constantly talked to women like that. So I say, you know what? It's about time I added in the book. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Past lovers, women that were potential, women I went on dates with. Y'all made me very successful. Thank you. You see what I'm saying? Because I took everything and held mental documentation. And it's like, yo, it's a fact. I said, yo, this is a perfect scene to push all these things out and expose all of this. You're rich. Even though y'all are business partners, obviously. Right? Pertaining to investments. He's investing in her stuff. She's investing in his. But y'all have money separately.
Right.
So being that you make enough money to really be on your own.
Yeah, you're independent, she says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do you stay? And in that moment, it's a reality check. It's like looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
And you don't see what it is, and then you go outside and say, like, yo, there's something on your nose. I didn't see that when it was there the whole time.
Mm.
You see, it's like that, because in that moment, you see, when you read it, Sophia's speechless.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know what to say, because
Yeah.
she probably never thought that.
Right.
You know? And in a way, Estrella is that.
Mm.
She's a single mom. She makes a lot of money,
Mhm.
business owner. Why is she submissive to him?
Yep.
So in that moment, it's like she's kind of projecting that upon her, like, yo,
Mhm.
you could be like me. Why not? Why
Mm.
do you stay? Because you are submissive.
And Sophia also asked her, "How can you be so calm in the right now? Like, how can you be so calm with him in the predicament that he's in?" And Estrella says, "I have to be, because me losing my, losing my composure and crying or whatever is not going to
Don't
help
do
him."
him good.
Right? She was like,
Yeah.
I have to keep my composure because that's what he needs."
Yes.
Which is, I think, another thing that pushes Sophia. She's like, "Well, hold up, I could try to compose myself too.
Yeah.
If she could do it, I could do it."
And you know what? I love that, because sometimes it does take another woman to make a woman realize something.
Yeah.
Because if this goes deep into psychological, traumatic experiences. She grew up without a father. So
They both did.
yes, initially, a woman that grows up without her father is going to hate men.
Mm.
Especially if she's hearing one side of the story while he left. Let's say she has no communication with her father.
Mhm.
She don't know if he's alive, whatever it is, and she just hears the mother's side. 90% of the time, the mother's gonna give a good side on her part and bad on his.
Yeah.
90% of 90% of the time. So in that moment, if you're hearing negativity about your dad, that plays into your subconscious. You grow up with not just abandonment issues, hating men.
Mm-hmm.
So anything a man says, you're not gonna believe.
Yeah.
I don't care what type of woman you are. Anything a man says to you, you are not gonna believe. You're gonna take it as misogynistic. You're gonna take it as unfair. Why can't we do it? All this other stuff. But the moment other women are saying it and you kind of relate to them, you might now take it as face value.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Because we're different, like biologically and scientifically, we're different. So the way I think, you're not gonna think, and the way you think, I'm not gonna think, and especially what we like.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, human beings know this. Even if they're not conscious of it, their subconscious does. So it's like, if you're saying that's like a man thing, it's like they invented this thing called mansplaining, splaining. It's like
Oh, yeah.
explaining, but a mansplaining. He's mansplaining. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, ultimately, I wanted to create that scene where now it's like, yo, a woman is telling you stuff that Dom was trying to tell you,
Right.
but you wasn't trying to hear it because of so many.
It was a man.
Not just that, like it's so much that has gone with them, infidelity, whatever it is. So now it's like, it's now in a way, Sophia understands, yo, okay, you gain my respect because you did what you did in court, but we don't have to like each other.
Yep.
So, but eventually, that respect, that is the cornerstone to inspiring love and trust.
Definitely trust.
Because that's what ends up happening. So because she realizes that now she's here for the long haul, and this is all going through my head as I'm writing this stuff. Back then with the book, 2019, March 14th, it published. So this all going through my head as I'm writing it, like, because what she did inspired trust, and now what she's saying, respect. Now what she's saying is that. And then they have the intimate moment. She calls her at the end. Yo, why you want to involve her now? You see, I got a plan.
Anyway.
I got a plan.
Yeah.
So now it's like, in a way, they're now building that bond.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the title, Strong Bonds Never
Never break,
Break,
yeah.
everything. So now they're building a bond. Yo, I have a plan. It's going to require you to step out of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
You down for it. She could have did it on her own.
Well, she could have, but Dom would have been like, "What are you doing? I told you that you need Estrella with you."
Yeah, but if you knew,
but that shows her growth, though.
yes, and
Because she could have.
if you knew that she might not be up for the task, why would you involve her?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
And plus, Sophia being Sophia, as we know her previously, she would have tried it on her own to get yelled at by him, and then and at the end to have to bring her back, to bring Esther into it anyway. But that growth, that conversation that she had with her did something, and now she's like, all right. And she knew the only other person that's going to want him out of there as much as me is her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good too.
Yeah. And that's why she couldn't really involve Lisa. And I did that on purpose because, yo, Lisa's more of like family and her best friend
Right.
than this stranger, technically.
Right. But Lisa doesn't love or
Exactly.
even care for him.
Exactly. And that's why she said, you know what? I don't like it, but I'm gonna give her a call. And this was before the ending. You know what I'm saying? To let her know what happened to him.
Yeah.
When he first got jammed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like I said, the narcissistic tendencies, brushing my shoulders, that was very brilliant.
Well
I can't take all the credit. The ancestors, God, they, helped me out. But that was the core to her transformation. And
Yeah.
like I said, I wanted to put her in
the hot seat.
behind the wheel.
Oh.
I wanted to put Sophia behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, putting Estrella on the hot seat elevated her too, because you pushed her limits, got her out of her comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see what these women were down to do for Dom.
Yeah.
And that was that was huge for me when I did that.
You gotta
So
put the clapping, not just me.
that was the biggest that was the biggest scene. That was the pivotal moment for, I'm thinking about film. I said
think
scene.
Oh yeah, me too. No, but it could be a scene in the book. Yeah.
That was the pivotal moment for the rest of the book.
Yeah. But it's pivotal for all of them. Not just, it's majorly pivotal for Sophia, but it's a pivotal moment for Dom, because he has to let go of that control, because he has none right now.
Yep.
And it's a pivotal moment for Estrella, because of now she had to step out of the comfort zone in court, and now she has to work with Sophia.
Yeah. Well, I say pivotal moment because the book title is Strong Bonds Never Break.
Yeah.
So how was I going to bring that into fruition? You see what I'm saying? So it's like in that moment, that's the pivotal chapter for the remaining of the book, because it's about the bond, about the unity. Remember in the synopsis, new alliances are created, old ones crumble, right? Just to paraphrase. So ultimately, I wanted to structure the literary content around all of that. The book title, the synopsis, you know what I'm saying? To build that. So that chapter is the pivotal scene, because now the hard work is done. They're gonna be working together, and they've built something outside of him. So now when he gets out, I don't want to spoil the rest, almost
You're just gonna have to get the books, people.
Almost like smooth sailing, but there's some hiccups.
Listen, the waters are always kind of rough at some times, so there's never really smooth sailing.
But I thought to myself, creating this, would that have been like this if this never happened to Dom? Would he be able, because this is what he wanted, right? He wanted everybody to get along and be together and build something
He just
together.
didn't know how to do it. Because he did say that. He was
No,
like,
that's your opinion. He
No,
didn't know
no,
how to
no.
do it.
In the book, she asked him, "Did you ever tell her?" Like maybe, and he was like, "I tried, but she shot down that part of my life, and I tried to."
Okay. So maybe you're right.
What was that? What was that?
I said maybe you're right.
Oh.
So maybe in that sense, like you were saying, what was it?
This is like when there's the out the oh my god, I forget all these sayings. This was like a blessing in disguise. Him being
Yes.
put in jail,
Yeah.
because without that, it probably wouldn't have moved the way it did.
And that's how I thought it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know what?
Everything happens for a
In
reason.
times of crisis, you see how things unveil.
Mhm.
People show their true colors. People get together. It's almost like strange bedfellows.
Yeah, it's like make or break.
It's like you're the enemy of my enemy is my friend,
Mhm.
almost. So it's like in those situations, like all of that stuff came into my head, like strange bedfellows and the enemy of my enemy of my
Mhm.
friend. All that played in my head when I was like, I'm gonna create this scene, man. Back in the days, I was managing, corporations, and I had to be up early, 2 o'clock in the morning. These characters are dancing in my head. I gotta
Wow.
wake up, write them down, and go back to sleep. At work,
That's
boom, an
that's
idea,
dedication.
writing it down. People are like, how'd you did 5 books in under a year? And I download the Microsoft Word app on my phone. Could be sitting on the porcelain at work. I'm doing it, auto save. And when I get home on my Mac, I pick up where I left off.
I remember. I
So
remember those
I
days.
had so many different techniques, different rituals, and different loopholes in order to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But
I really
like I
enjoyed this one.
said, man, I watch a lot of Law and Order.
Yeah, I
So
was, because that whole the court scene, I was like, amazing. It's like the verbiage is so on point.
yeah, well, I even though I watch it, I put them in my own words.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said to myself, like, this shit sounds too nerdy. I want to say it like this.
Yeah.
This shit sounds more invigorating. Let me say it like this. Let me write it like this. So I use my own words. But the shackles part was the best because imagine like, you kill police officers, how would they be, their orange jumpsuit,
Yeah.
he has shackles on. So, but the way she got him off is like incredible. Use the race against on there, use history, United States, he's a, tax-paying citizen, the no record thing, throw all of those, because that's what attorneys do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She also said how he donates to the police, to the firefighters, all this stuff. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
It was
she
good.
was good.
Very nice,
Yeah.
Mr. Real Discipline. I enjoyed it.
I definitely wanted to put her in the position to do that versus the guy, because women can be, they can be
Useful.
no, they could be dominant. They could be dominant in profession.
Yeah.
They could be dominant in profession, and they could
Take
compete.
charge.
They could
Yeah.
compete with men in profession. And I wanted to highlight that. That she is sexy and beautiful, and I said that. And sometimes that may be taken as, well, she got that position because of her looks.
Because she said, yeah.
She got that position probably because she was on her knees. She got that position because she was kissing ass. And clearly in there, you see it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, there's sometimes you can't coach intelligence. Sometimes you can't coach passion and intensity.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you see why. Remember when they're having the conversation? Why her also? And he's like, yo, she's the best.
I was just about to say
she's
that.
the best in
10 states.
10 states or whatever,
And what does
or
Sophia
20
say?
states.
She said, it doesn't matter if she's the best. It matters if she wins.
Yeah.
She always got to put a dig in there.
Yeah. So I wanted to highlight that. I wanted to highlight that because it's like people will see that, especially men like me who have character like me, like they will see, oh, she got to that position based off her looks or whatever, and then like I display that, oh, okay, she's surprising me. She's an intellect. Okay, she's this, she's that, and she's, obviously dressed professionally, and I describe it in business attire.
Yeah.
So like, you put that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I
it
like
was
this
good.
episode. It was great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So the book is available for purchase. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, authorhouse.com.
Well, if you Google him, all his books come up
EL
and
Discipline.
where you can buy them. So
Yes, EL Discipline. Yeah, so
or Google the book name and it gives you a list of
yeah,
where you can buy
and
it
I
as
also
well.
think it's also on electronic version as well.
Definitely.
So Goodreads, just put in EL Discipline, you'll find all my books, all my works. Google, it's available for purchase, so you can start reading the electronic version right now as we speak. Really, really, it is a psychological thriller. That's like it has many
Genres, multi-genre.
it's lands in many genres. Action packed, crime,
Super action-packed.
drama,
Super drama.
suspense,
Super
mystery,
suspenseful. Yes.
mystery. But I believe it's on top of the list. It's a psychological thriller. That's what I believe.
I do too.
All right. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to Discipline Therapy Podcast.
Peace.
For me, I go crazy. Don't switch on me, I got big plans. We need to fall to the island and get you gold on spray tan. I need you to stop running back to your ex, he's a waste man. I wanna know how come we can never smash and stay friends. Cause I'm blind for real, I might just say how I feel. Yeah, I'm blind for real, I might just say